Hello, and welcome to Group 4's presentation. My name is Reagan, and my group mates are Allison, Aaron, and Avita. We chose to conduct our research on the Marquette Food Co-op because of its large presence in the Marquette community and its reputation as an ethical and sustainable business. During this presentation, we'll begin with a quick introduction of the MFC and then continue to stakeholder and cultural insights, the triple bottom line and ESG strategy, responsible marketing and communications, and implementation, eventually followed by our final takeaways. And I'd like to begin with a quick fun fact. We live in a world where over 70% of consumers believe that it is important for companies to make the world a better place, and only 37% believe that the most important aspect of running a company is making a profit. So ethics are becoming an increasingly important value among many people. In a tight-knit community such as Marquette, these ethics are even more important so that community members feel as though they can trust their local business owners as if they were family. And this familial relationship between business and consumer is especially vital when it comes to feeding friends or family. In terms of purpose, location, and target, the Marquette Food Co-op is a community-owned cooperative, and it's an independent grocery store which is located at 502 West Washington Street in Marquette, Michigan. It is very close to the Northern Michigan University campus and downtown Marquette, which attracts many students, permanent residents, and tourists alike. They operate under a cooperative model, so members of the Marquette community can pay an equity share fee and become an owner. Their target public is primarily focused towards people who are conscious of their health and wellness, as well as their impact on the environment. These shoppers are also typically people who are willing and able to pay more for organic, locally sourced goods. Currently, the Marquette Food Co-op's focus and official vision is community-based. The co-op's global ends policy states, the Marquette Food Co-op provides the region it serves with access to food products, services, and education that foster a thriving, equitable, and resilient community. They do this all by promoting cooperative growth opportunities, focusing on sustainable environmental outcomes, supporting an equitable shopping experience, and prioritizing local and organic food systems. Moving forward, we will take a look at stakeholder and cultural insights for the MFC. Given that the Marquette Food Co-op is open to the entire community, it naturally has a lot of stakeholders who are affected by the decisions made within the organization. The internal stakeholders consist of owners, members, the board of directors, managers, and employees. And the external stakeholders include customers, community members, local farmers and vendors, community organizations, and even competitors such as Meijer and Super One Foods. In terms of company culture, our research found some surprisingly mixed results. Searching through databases like Glassdoor, we found that many former and current employees appreciated the MFC's focus on education and community building, collaborative efforts, friendly environment, and mission-oriented company culture. However, reviews from some employees revealed that job security was unstable, employees were treated unequally based on their tenure, training was inconsistent, and communication with management was less than ideal. But as with any company, there will always be critiques to be made on how it's run, so take this into consideration. So, what framework would this fall under then? For us, we believe that the MFC follows the ethics of care framework. This framework fits naturally with the Marquette Food Co-op's mission and operations. And as a cooperative, the co-op exists to serve its members and owners and community rather than outside shareholders. Its commitment to sustainable sourcing, fair pricing, and educational outreach demonstrates a focus on supporting relationships. Programs such as farm tours, cooking classes, composting, and food donations reflect how the co-op already places stakeholder well-being and community engagement at the center of what it does.
And then next, we are going to be talking about the triple bottom line in our ESG strategy for the Marquette Food Co-op. So we're going to start with a quick analysis. As it is already known, the co-op demonstrates strong leadership in sustainability. They pride themselves in their environmental stewardship, community engagement, and long-term economic growth. They have a strong community focus as they are community owned, and they have ongoing education efforts, as previously mentioned, with food cooking classes, nutrition classes, and farm tours. They foster an inclusive environment and care about the people who work and shop there. They also value the planet through sustainable sourcing, sustainable building systems, which we'll talk about later, water conservation, waste reduction, and energy efficiency. The food co-op is also uses its sustainability as a competitive advantage. They have had steady growth since their 2013 expansion, where they had to take out some grants and loans, and they are working to pay those off. They also value their local economic support and reinvest in local economy. So as previously mentioned, the co-op has energy efficient refrigeration and soy-based insulation within. They also use LED motion sensor lighting and have a waste heat recovery system to heat water and the store. Next, we're going to go into their ESG scorecard. Starting with the environmental section, I gave them a 4.5 for energy and water efficiency, 4.7 on waste diversion, 4.5 on sustainable sourcing, 3 on environmental reporting, 4 on climate strategy, with an average of 4.3 for environmental. For the social criteria, I gave them a 5 on community engagement, 5 on education and outreach, 3.5 on the employee experience, which we will talk about later, 4.5 on DEI and inclusion, 4.5 on health and safety, averaging a 4.5 overall. And then finally, for governance, a 4.5 on accountability, 4 on transparency, 4 on strategic planning, 4.5 on ethical sourcing, and a 4 on financial stewardship, averaging a 4.2 out of 5. And then the overall ESG score is a 4.33 out of 5. And then to break down this score, I gave the environmental section, their strengths were energy efficiency building systems, so that LED lighting, heat recovery, and soy-based insulation, water conservation. They have low flow fixtures and rainwater harvesting. They also have strong waste reduction, focusing on composting, donations, repurposing, and using reusable packaging. They emphasize local and organic sourcing, and they foster community education and sustainable consumption at the forefront. Their weaknesses here were limited transparency on emission and carbon footprint data, along with high food miles due to their remote location in the UP. They do not have any renewable energy expansion in place because of the climate and location of the UP. And then the strengths for their social aspect was they are a member-owned organization with thousands of members, which brings in strong community identity. Also, their education programs through the cooking classes and nutrition, as well as the farm tours. They also have many local partnerships through health systems, schools, and the MSU's agricultural department, and of course, those local farmers. They donate to nonprofits and food access initiatives, and their employee DEI training and resource groups have proven to be effective. However, there are mixed employee satisfaction and some gaps within management. There is also an ongoing need to strengthen their DEI implementation and communication under the current administration we have. And then finally, governance score, I gave a 4.2 out of 5, and the strengths here were the transparency and cooperation of the co-op, along with their board of directors' engagement and sustainability commitments, fair pricing strategies with local farmers, and investments tied to environmental and community values. The weaknesses here were the need to pursue more grant opportunities. They're missing out on a lot of potential grant opportunities that could help them. Also, a need for more financial planning and long-term reporting. And finally, that social media presence and communication could be stronger. Now, the ESG risks and recommendations. So the top 3 risks that we identified were high food miles due to the location in the UP, limited reporting of ESG, CO2 emissions, and energy gap usage, and then finally, the mixed employee experience and management. So our recommendations for this are for the high food miles to continue to identify and work alongside local producers and reduce the reliance on distant suppliers. They should use consolidated shipping options whenever possible and implement seasonal availability on items and educate customers on shopping seasonally and its sustainable importance. Finally, the limited reporting. They should launch and publish an annual report on ESG and sustainability metrics. They should start small and expand by tracking monthly energy consumption, water use, compost weight, etc. And they should join the National Co-op Grocers data program because they offer sustainability reporting tools for co-ops specifically. And then they should also conduct anonymous employee experience surveys throughout the year and have more frequent and improved manager training programs. And then our question, how does this plan improve outcomes for both the business and society? By by having better workplace conditions, you can support employees and thus make them more motivated and productive. Increasing transparency and reporting creates trust and allows for more growth opportunities, and increase efforts to source local and growing supports, oh my goodness, increase efforts to source local grows the regional economy while reducing environmental impact. This strengthens the community and locality. And then this plan ensures that the co-op succeeds as a business while supporting the community and the environment it depends on. This plan allows the co-op to become a prime example of a true sustainable business.
Next, we were talking about the responsible marketing and the communication plan. So first, this was our poster that we made, and being a PR major here at NMU, so this was a pretty exciting project for me. It's right up my alley. So first, I wanted to showcase the new tagline, and that's where I started. And then I came up, "Good for you" and "Good for Marquette." And then that highlights all that, and then we highlighted authentic photos of real shoppers, which was us when we visited, and then with the local produce and the MFC storefront. And kind of just go with our theme. I used like the earthy greens and warm neutrals to reflect sustainability, balance, and community. I just chose a more of a simple approach, so the approachable layout design for posters, flyers, and campus community boards, so it's just easy to read for everyone. And then this communicates how shopping at the co-op benefits individual health in the broader Marquette community, and then aligns with the co-op's identity through the consistent logo, which is at the bottom left of the poster, and use the clear website placement. So then explain how your team avoided greenwashing or ethical blind spots. So more I focus on the authentic storytelling, using the real images and the real community moments, not stock photos. The messaging highlights true fruitful benefits of the local farmers, the sustainable sourcing, and community support. I avoided exaggerating claims by grounding the flyer in what the MFC already practices. Ensured transparency by connecting the campaign to existing sustainability actions and programs, and then prioritized inclusion by representing diverse shoppers and everyday experiences, and followed the AMA ethical marketing principles of honesty, fairness, and responsibility. And then just summarizing our tech and data use policy and why it builds trust. So sets clear expectations for the ethical technology use and collects only the information necessary to support operations and the member services. It safeguards customer privacy through secure data storage and restricted access to sensitive information. It uses the marketing data responsibility, so that focuses on enhancing customer experience rather than the intrusive or excessive targeting, and then promotes ethical accountability by aligning technology practices with the co-op sustainability and value-driven standards. It strengthens the community confidence through the transparency about data is collected, how it's used, and then how it's protected. And then demonstrates the NFC's commitment to responsibility, the openness, and the long-term trust with the customers, employees, and members. And then we'll be talking about the implementation plan plus the KPIs. Like the first 1 to 3 months, the stockholder workshops, baseline assessments, the launch technology and data use policy. So the months between 4 and 9, adjust operations for sustainability support, local farmers, and then the launch of the marketing campaign. And then going into like the 10 to 18th range, and so we can monitor those sustainability metrics, publish the ESG reports, collect feedback, adjust as if needed. And then months 19 to 36, expand the community engagement, strengthen the supply chain, pursue the certifications, and continue the ethical data use. So explain how success will be measured. So what does better look like? So the environmental impact, so the operations produce less carbon, energy, and waste, showing tangible reductions over time. And then the sustainability sourcing and efficient resource use demonstrate a commitment to environmental stewardship. Then going to the social impact, the stronger community engagement through workshops, events, and partnerships, which we already discussed earlier in the presentation, the higher satisfaction among customers and employees, reflecting a positive and inclusive experience, and then also the transparency in operations and data builds trust and strengthens the co-op's reproduction. going to the KPIs. So the reduction of the carbon emissions and energy use. So the KPI for that reduces emissions by 50% within the next 3 years. And then the community engagement, the KPI, so the increased participation by the 25%, and it achieves at least 90% satisfaction for the stakeholders, and then the cost savings from sustainability initiatives. So the KPI equals achieve 30,000 annual savings from energy efficiency upgrades, and then the increased membership by 25%.
Okay, going into closing and takeaways, why should you support the Marquette Food Co-op? They are more than just a grocery store. They're a community-owned, mission-driven business that builds a healthier, more equitable, and more sustainable local food system. The Marquette Food Co-op prioritizes purchasing from local farmers and producers, ensuring that a significant portion of its inventory supports the Marquette economy. This strategy is paired with full transparency about where products came from, how they're grown, and the standards behind them. By building direct long-term relationships with growers, the co-op reduces environmental impact, strengthens community resilience, and guarantees ethically sourced, high-quality foods, setting it apart from traditional grocery stores that rely on large-scale supply chains. The Marquette Food Co-op will create a lasting impact because of the path it is paving for the future of Marquette. Their commitment to local sourcing, transparency, and environmental responsibility displays what ethical businesses practice can and should look like. By educating consumers and supporting the local growers, the co-op creates a model that other businesses can follow, helping to shape a more resilient and sustainable focused future for Marquette. Thank you.